All right, so I want to give you an update today on the tax credits because yesterday, quite a bit of stuff happened that helped to advance the EV tax credits that are a part of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Now, I'm on the road, so there won't be much editing to this video, but I did want to provide you the update nonetheless. So there's some good news here for those of you who are holding out for the tax credits. The parliamentarian in the Senate did review the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 as it sits. And for the most part, the bill was held intact after her review. So after this review, there were some modifications that had to be made specifically on the medical side of this bill. So how Medicare can negotiate rates and how they can put caps on how much drug prices can increase. There were some changes there, but I'm not going to focus on that right here because yesterday afternoon, after the parliamentarian did her review, we now have an understanding on how this is going to be viewed from a legal standpoint and can they move forward with the bill as written. So it turns out on the EV tax credit side, everything looks good to go. And we did hear from Sinema just the other day that she has given her thumbs up in support of this bill. There were some things that she wanted to see changed, but it was not in relation to the EV tax credits. So she's on board, which means all 50 Democrats in the Senate are supporting the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Now, last night, after this all happened, the Senate goes through what they call a Vote-a-rama. And basically what this is a last chance for people to put forward amendments to this bill to make changes. So there's going to be a ton of votes on minor changes here and there. And these structural changes could have an impact at the end of the day on how this bill will look. But so far, we don't have a lot of details on anything that's changed for the EV tax credits as they're written. Now, I've heard from a lot of you, there's a lot of concern about what cars are going to qualify under this EV tax credit. And basically, the car needs to be built in North America. That's step number one. And then the $7,500 is broken down into two sections. And it's basically, where are the minerals coming from that go into the battery? And where is the battery produced? So those two things are the important things to qualify for the $7,500 tax credit. So because of that, I do not believe the standard range Model 3 is going to qualify. Now, of course, the long range Model 3 is too expensive because it exceeds the $55,000 cap. So that means for Tesla anyways, only the Model Y is going to qualify for these tax credits. Now, for the foreign cars, this is where things are going to get a little bit dicey because there are cars that qualify today for up to $7,500 tax credit that no longer will once this goes into effect, which is supposed to be after December 31st, 2022, or in simpler terms, at the beginning of next year. So once this does go into effect, this new bill will then be for all future orders of cars. So if you have an order in today, it doesn't matter as long as you don't take delivery until after 2023. Now, do know this, if you have a Tesla on order, last year when the tax bill looked like it was going to happen, a lot of people started to push their orders into 2022. Tesla allowed it for a very short period of time, and then they clamped down hard on people requesting delaying their delivery. They're doing the same thing now, and don't expect anything different for the rest of this year. Tesla is not going to want to delay a ton of orders and miss numbers for deliveries because people want to wait until January. So if you have a delivery coming up, it's going to be very hard to get Tesla to agree to delay it. I'm not saying they won't, and there might be some special circumstances that allow you to do that, but the masses will not be able to delay their order. So keep that in mind. Also, if you have an order in and you've been waiting forever, there's a very good chance that your order is going to be pulled forward. So you may be looking at December for quite a bit of time, and now all of a sudden it looks like you might be able to get your car in September as an example. That's because some people are going to cancel their orders. So you need to look at your order, what price do you have locked in, and how does that compare to these tax credits? Because Tesla is very likely going to make you cancel if you don't want to take delivery in the time frame that you're ultimately going to get assigned. So that's an analysis each of you have to do on your own, but I do want to follow this up with one little piece. I'll give you an overview of the tax bill as it's written now and what we know now, so that you can have that summary as well. So the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 is a 10-year bill, and it starts after December 31st of 2022. That means this is not retroactive. This bill starting in 2023 means it goes all the way through 2032. This is a tax credit of up to $7,500, and it is now broken down into two categories. First, $3,750 for North American battery components. These battery components must be made or assembled in North America. 50% of those components by 2024, and then every year thereafter, 10% more must be made in North America. The final target is 100%. By 2029, components must be made or assembled in North America. They can also use components not made in North America as long as they're recycled here in North America. The other $3,750 comes from battery minerals that are sourced from free trade partners with the United States. So 40% of the minerals that are put into the battery must be sourced by 2023 from free trade agreement partners with the United States. Every year thereafter, it does increase by 10% until the final target of 80% by 2027 through the end of this bill. So what this all means is at least half of the battery must be assembled or built here in North America. It can be Canada, Mexico, United States. In addition, the raw materials that go into the actual battery, the things like iron and phosphate and lithium and cobalt, must be sourced from a US trade partner. The MSRP caps are the same as we've seen in the past. It is $80,000 for vans, SUVs, and trucks, and $55,000 for others. So sedans like the Model 3 have a $55,000 cap. The income caps did tighten on this updated bill. You now have a cap of $150,000 for individuals and $300,000 for joint filers. They also made some changes to used EVs in this updated bill as well. The new credit for used EVs is $4,000 or 30% of the total cost of the used car, whichever is less. The car must be 2 years old or older. It cannot exceed $25,000 in price, and it must be bought from a dealer. This credit can only be used once per vehicle, and this will be tracked by the VIN. So once a used car has taken this $4,000 credit, it cannot be taken again in a subsequent sale through another dealer. You also cannot buy from a private party to also get this credit. The income caps for used EVs are $75,000 for individuals and $150,000 for joint filers. And then finally, this is a refundable credit like we've been seeing all this time. This is going to be realized at time of purchase. So that's it for today. I did want to get this update to you, even though I'm on the road. It's still very important. There are steps happening, there are things happening, and we very well could have a final answer on these tax credits as soon as this weekend. So with all that, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, give it the thumbs up. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bearded Tesla. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.